Let's take you to this story in the East End now. About 100 families that were evicted from a residential flat in Ekurhuleni near Tembisa have spent a whole week out in the open cold, some with children and with their belongings placed in an open field. Now, talking to some affected families, we go back to SABC News reporter Ofense Sidimo for us in Tembisa. Ofense, thank you for your time. So take us through the latest coming out from there now. What are some of the interventions thus far for the affected families?
Thank you very much. Well, I can tell you that from the information that we've gathered so far, we have a database apparently of about 1,200 people that have actually been evicted from Glen Marikana. And that particular database is the one that the municipality was going to use to allocate them land here in Oakmore. But unfortunately, once they identified the land and the graders started coming in, some of the locals who were actually allegedly mobilized by the local councillor started occupying that land, sort of causing tension between those that were evicted and the locals. Now, the situation is still quite dire. As you can imagine that for 2 weeks they have been sleeping under open skies, anticipating that there might be some intervention from the housing MMC to try and find an alternative accommodation for them, but that never actually happened. I'm actually joined now by the two ladies who have actually been sleeping here for the past 2 weeks, just to hear how their experience has been. Situation is a leleng mosona. So amile byang wena as bududi o evictuleng from Glen Marikana?
Ke le modudi wa tswang kwa Glen Marikana pelo ya ka e botlhoko kudu ke kwa botlhoko ka bana ba masea re robala le bona mo tseleng masea a rena a robala mo tseleng 2 weeks ka ofela ba bangwe ba sa ya le dikolong le rena re tlhape a riji a ona dijo a ona metse ha ona ntwe re jang re dula re sa tlhape re le basadi for 2 weeks ka ofela re sa tlhape so ntwe re affectila go re gopela organization ya rena a ke re thushe re fe plaque ya rena ya o robala re khumana bodulo mo gara organization ya rena wa re santse re sokole mo ga borena na re sokotsa ke eng but na organization ya rena wa e re latlhela matsogo mola re filwe land e le reng ke ya rena on top of that ba dula ba re bakisha yona re tsebo re le baka ke eng ya gore ba re bakisha land mola re le homeless re tlhoka madulo re tlhoka robala gore mo serameng re le basadi di operation tsa ba bangwe di a buleya ba bangwe ba dile di miscarriage 3 of them miscarriage o mongwe o dile miscarriage ka bana ba ma-twins o mongwe ba ithuki mada ba 11 tshetse already re lositse maphelo a batho ba rena ba bolaiwa ba thuntshitswe ka baka la this cause of eviction. So a re sa tseba gore na organization ya rena e re latlhela mo kae re gopela thuso tsa mo organization ya rena please re homeless re nyaka thuso.
Well, that's Shelima Tope. I actually forgot to introduce her when she was speaking. She's saying that for the past 2 weeks, they haven't had a bath, and the tankers only started coming recently, saying, some of the people that were coming back from operations, they are not healing well, as the conditions they are in is not conducive it's not a conducive healing environment, if I may put it that way. But I'm joined now by Thapelo Komane, just to elaborate a bit further. When amegile byang ma? Ke tla o tshwarela.
All right, ke leboga. Seemo se a sa re swara ga botse. Nna re gopela masepala gore o tse maikarabelo go bane tabe ya rena e tswa court e rutse gore swantse re fiwe plaque ya rena ga swantse re tsene mo no go ba le di problem ke 2 weeks re rutse mo wa swantse masepala o tsena go etelle so batho ba re ba le mo strateng so ara sora ga batho ba ntse ba senyegile le ke mebereko batho ba gone go mebereko bana ba gone wa sekolo wa ba seno kola bana ba sekolo hle gore ba sekolo e le gore mohlomongwa ba bapala di politics ya maphelo a batho Ekurhuleni municipality please account.
Ko poro tlhalosetse vele gore ke thuso e feng nkileng la e bona maybe dikobo kapa matrase kapa dijo go tswa ko masepala kapa go tswa ko mekhatlong e meng
a gona thuso re kreang go no ba batho ba fetang ba re kolang bohloko ba re fa dijo le sela gona thuso re kreang le metsi ya tla ka go rothela di toilet di few so a gona thuso re kreang re tabegile re tsebele mpele le morago mara plaque yona re winne go ya le ka court ruling ya High Court ya Johannesburg.
Well, as you heard, that's Thapelo Komane actually saying that, they were brought to this particular land following a court ruling which ruled that they were supposed to be allocated an alternative land which they were supposed to reside in after they were evicted about 2 weeks ago from Glen Marikana, which was the informal settlement they were occupying previously. So they are urging the municipality to try and find places or wherever they can actually live, as they're saying that for the past 2 weeks they haven't had any assistance in terms of maybe blankets or warm coffee soup or anything like that. So that's the situation that we find ourselves in. We spoke to the Speaker of Council earlier, who actually explained this, the one who actually gave us the figure of about 1,200 families that have actually been evicted. And there was a bit of a tension earlier on between some of the community leadership and the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Chief, as they were saying that they have orders to evict some of the people that have gone beyond the ward, which was Ward 4 that was allocated for their occupation. But now there are those that have gone now to Ward 100, of which they are saying that they are going to evict them. So things are quite tense at the moment between the evictees and the locals, and also between the authorities as well, as they are saying that, you know, they've thrown them just out in the open, have left them here without any assistance to try and make their stay comfortable.
So, Offense, as things stand now, there's been no response from the municipality itself?
Yes, as I mentioned, we actually spoke to the Speaker of Council, speaking on behalf of the municipality, of course, and she was the one giving us the figures and saying that they've been evicting people from Glen Marikana from as early as 2016. They've actually been evicting people there and sort of allocating them alternative spaces where they can live. But you know the challenge of occupation, a lot of people don't have places to stay. But once they evict people there, others still come, and then it becomes a situation where now they're not able to accommodate all. But they are saying that they are currently in a meeting. We know that the current acting mayor of Ekurhuleni and the Human Settlement MMC are currently locked in a meeting where they are engaging on how to intervene and try and find a way forward for the people here. But you know, after 2 weeks, it just feels like a little late.